Hello, everyone. We are here to speak about success tips and recommendations for 2022 from Turkish studios. I'm really excited for today's talk because this year is going to be amazing for Turkey. It has been a wonderful year last year in terms of game production, development, publishing, etc. Of course, it was not a great year. Otherwise, we had pandemic and all that. But it's very exciting to be in Turkey to develop games here because I don't think we see the whole potential even now because Turkey is number one in a lot of verticals. As we grow, we see more and more evidences towards it. So I can't wait to discuss the opportunities and maybe some growth hacks, etc. What I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna let you guys to speak about yourselves real quick in a few sentences. Just describe your background and what you want to achieve in the future. Let's get started with Ozhan. Ozhan, would you like to talk about yourself a little bit? Ozhan, can you hear me?
Thank you very much, Umut.
Cheers.
I'm Ozhan. I'm in hyper casual industry for 2 years. I've developed many prototypes, tested them, and also have a chance to work on some products as well. And it was a great 2 years. And now I'm looking into 2022 for new opportunities and chances in the hyper casual and also hybrid casual industry. Let's see what will happen next.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Ozhan. Kerim, let's continue with you. You're from Ruby, from Izmir. We are proud of you guys. You're doing a great job as a fellow game developer from the region. What do you have to say about yourself and Ruby? Could you please give us a little bit of background?
Yeah. Hi guys, I'm Kerim, and I've been working at Ruby Games for like over three and a half years. And at Ruby Games, we have published lots of hit games. I think it's like up to 8 or 10 hit games so far. And we've recently been acquired by Rovio Games, like a couple of months back. And as I said, I've been working as game designer for like a couple of years now, and have been involved in at least 6 hit games, and I have over like 100 million downloads under my belt so far. And hopefully things will only grow even further.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Kerim. Abdulrahman, let's continue with you. What's your story? Just give us a brief explanation, please.
Okay. Well, actually, I'm game designer. I've been for around 4 years working in hyper casual industry. I'm glad I've done like 4 published hit games in hyper casual industry and 1 casual game. And currently we are like as a Groovy Antoid looking to publish even more games in the markets in terms of like casual and hyper casual games. So that's like a brief summary.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So let me, ask you my first question, which is, what are the things Turkish game ecosystem doing right? So what do we get right in your opinion? Abdurrahman, let's start with you. And by the way, could you please explain where you came from? Because that actually gives you a unique opportunity because you're not Turkish. We just spoke about it. This is how I know it before the meeting. So how do you feel about the growth in Turkey, and what are the things that Turks are doing right in your opinion?
Well, actually, firstly, I came from Saudi Arabia. So there where I grew up and I got raised. So the main difference is like I'm seeing Turkey like doing, which is different than other countries, is taking the right opportunity from the developers. And it adopted the market of games really in early stages. Like I remember like it started like from over like 5 years ago. And like we have seen a lot of huge companies here, such as like Gram and Rolik Games. And I'm seeing like the ecosystem in general, like terms of like game jams that's happening here in Turkey, especially like in Bug Kitchen, which is located in Başakşehir University. That's like keeps developing the students and communicating between the students and the people who's working in the industry. In addition, like to including a lot of people from outside of Turkey to Turkey, like in terms of sharing the knowledge, sharing the educations, like developing the market. It's been like a really huge success to say about like Turkey in general. Looking at what it's been done in the correct time, in like kind of like early adopter to the hyper casual specifically market and other game genres.
Awesome,
Yeah.
thank you. And these are really powerful points, and it's really great to hear that as a game developer, you believe that Turkey attracts people from other countries at this point, which is amazing. I'm just very happy to hear that. Kerim, what do you think? What are the things that we get right?
Yeah, as Abdulrahman said, I think being an early adopter is really important, is one of the factors. But also, I think the education system and how we foster young people and how we get them involved in this ecosystem really well is one of the key factors that makes Turkish game ecosystem is really successful. Because even in our studio, we always looking for new young talents, and we always hire really skillful people from universities, and sometimes they're not even finished they haven't even finished the school. So they're really, in our universities, they have really good programs for developing games, designing games. And there's a couple of programs in Izmir, there are lots of in Istanbul as well. So I think that's like younger generations are really hungry for developing games, and we can really cultivate that hunger.
Yeah, I just want to add something real quick, because right before this event, I just posted a position on LinkedIn, and that is for people who drop out college. So that's interesting, because there are a lot, as you said, Kerim, there are a lot of talented people in Turkey, and we need more and more qualified employees. And Turkey is just scratching the surface of its whole potential. I 100% agree with you. Ozhan, what do you think? What do we get right?
I totally agree with what you have already said. There are lots of incubators and accelerator programs for both companies and individuals, so that they can cope up with the industry and have creative ideas become real. And also, I've detected that Turkish industry were always on the trends. Somehow, maybe it's because of the strong number of young people in the industry, and also there is a tendency to go the extra mile in every aspect of the industry, whether it's helping each other or working on different projects.
Yeah, totally agree with you. And you made a great point about incubators and apprenticeship programs and accelerators. As Tiplay Studio, we offer an apprenticeship program, and with Rolik, we are actually running an accelerator program called Ozhan for teams. But there are more. Like there's a boot camp called Codeurs. I don't know, hundreds, maybe more, maybe even 1,000 people came out of that program. There are individual accelerators and incubators from other companies and universities and organizations. This is just amazing. And that actually tells me something, which is, Turkish companies and entrepreneurs invest in the ecosystem. That's different in free-to-play game. Before Turks, got this position, it was mostly based on prototype. Like the funnels were built based on prototypes. Publishers would collect like 1,000 prototypes and just, launch 5 games, and 995 prototypes would be killed without feedback, etc. Now, I think Turkish ecosystem, the leaders in the Turkish ecosystem nurture these people whose prototypes would be killed otherwise. What do you think about this? Would you agree with me? Because I think that's the main foundation of our success. Kerim or Abdurrahman, what do you think, or Ozhan?
Yeah, I also agree. I think Rolik did a really good job on really sort of helping Turkish people and moving them closer to games and hyper casuals especially. And then, like you said, the program Ozhan is just a living proof of that.
Yeah. And I have to mention that when I visited Mertcan for the first time in Ege University, which is one of the best universities in Turkey, a couple of years ago, I wouldn't have imagined this success. I mean, they were already very successful, but a lot of your success came from the university community, and that tells something to us because we have a lot of talented people in schools, whether or not they're studying game. By the way, sometimes we hire people who studied like biology or something, but whatever, as long as they love gaming, and especially if they are gamers. That's one of the first questions I ask, like, how many hours did you kill playing games? If it's like more than 10,000, it's almost an instant hire. I'm not even kidding. Most parents now, I think they should change their approach to their kids. Abdulrahman, would you agree with us?
Yeah, actually, totally agree. Like in terms of gaming, like whenever I stop gaming, I just start lacking of the creativity of making games design. So like, of course, one of the main inspiration is like playing games and looking at the universities and like people I'm working with, like they're like you mentioned, like almost none of them studied game design. It's like if they're programmer, they are like either by hobby they get adapted to game development, or they studied like something close to it, like as a computer engineer or IT or other things, which actually it gives the most, like, how can I say, the juicy part of game development is basically people are entering the internet because of love, not because of they have to do it, So
Exactly.
that's actually the main difference. I noticed it, like comparing to other fields in the world. It's like everyone like internet because of love, and they give care about it. Whenever they have free time, they are either playing games to get inspired, or they are learning new stuff in game development and design, which is that makes it different than other fields. It's like not being a doctor or something like this, like in medical school. It's like it's kind of like a rough thing.
And you made an excellent point. Like hundreds of thousands of people that are on multiple Discord channels in Turkey discussing games, or Twitch, or watching like influencers, etc. They are potential leaders of the game industry, and some of them don't even know this yet. And this is very exciting because now the whole thing about the Turkish gaming ecosystem was done maybe 20,000 people, maybe. Think about this. If it's like 100,000 people, 1,000,000 people, what would happen? I think we'll see those days, which brings me to the next question about all these, future leaders, future game developers, designers, artists, etc. What one piece of advice would you give to up and coming studios or entrepreneurs, individuals and teams? Abdurrahman, let's start with you this time.
Okay. So in terms of like, I'm going to start by basically like starting a studio. It's actually like a rough thing because when you are starting, because of lack of experience, sometimes in terms of like business management or like development your business in general, like, and collaboration with other publishers maybe or other partners in the field. It's really important to start with partners, like not being individual in the market. Because being individual is like basically you are putting on yourself like a lot of pressure. In addition, like you are maybe wasting a lot of money, and losing is actually like it's even closer to losing than winning, being indie, like just totally going by yourself. Going with your partners and like collaboration, give different thought, different skills. It's actually always like adding great value to your team, which is really important to start as a partner, not being solo. Something else I would like give advice to every studios or like indies are working now in the industry, to stay in communication with other studios, like see that studios like have been like in the market for a longer time, and see what they are facing and what they faced, study like the market in general, see if you are really into making games, especially like hyper casual games or not. That's really important, because like a lot of people, like they get bored out of it really quick because they don't have the passion toward it, which is really important actually, to see yourself first, see other studios what they are working on, and kind of compare it to your experience, and toward that you can go next.
This is really, really good. It's a very good piece of advice. Thank you for that. And I 100% agree, because I know from experience that having the right partner, we partnered up with Rolik early on, is going to accelerate growth, and you're going to go beyond your expectation. I have to say that, we wouldn't have the success Tiplay had without Rolik. And find the right partner for you, and they're going to coach you, they're going to help you when you fall, they're going to help you stand back up, etc. And also communication is very important. I answer every message on LinkedIn and email. For example, just shoot me if you're starting, or just contact Kerim and say, hey, I did this and this game, and what do you think, blah blah. Maybe you're going to start your career at Ruby Studio. You never know. So always be in touch. Very important. Ozhan, let's continue with you. As an independent producer, you have a better or different perspective on this. What do you think?
I think for upcoming studios, the results are more important than the processes. So they shouldn't solely focus on process, but go for the results. They can do that by working with a publisher that suits them the most. So they need to communicate with other studios and publishers and select the one that suits them best. For existing studios, my advice will be to leave room for creativity, because lately we have seen in the stores lots of copycats and already tested prototypes over and over again. That's why they need to be more creative about the ideation part.
Yeah, more originality, more innovation, and more result-based approach. A better or KPI-based approach is going to work for them, and that's very important. Thank you for that, Ozhan. Because if you don't measure your success, or you don't have milestones in front of you that you put a check mark next to it, then you can chase your own tail. So you have to. It could be the number of prototypes produced a month, the number of prototypes that is below like 30% of day one retention, something. But you have to measure your success based on specific KPIs, and a strategic partner helps you a lot in terms of that. Kerim, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna add a little bit on what Ozhan said. I think he's right. You should focus on results, but there's also, if you can, you should not forget the importance of processes as well, because even at a very early on stage at Ruby Games, we started to build our own frameworks, our own modular scripts, modular stuff, build packed, compact things that we can reuse, and that really allowed us to increase our prototype numbers. And like that's one of the main reasons we were able to publish a game like from prototype, from initial idea to top charts in less than 20 days. So
nice.
If you have the resources, and just start investing on, even if it's investing on processes, even if it's really just like one line of code a day, just maybe like focus on it if you can. But having said that, also another important thing is having a resilience. I think is really crucial in especially competitive market as hyper casuals, because some people may go into this and see it as like a quick cash grab, and I'm gonna make like 100 prototypes, and I'm just gonna get 5 hits and I'm gonna be millionaire. And once they're at like 20, 30 prototypes and they see nothing but fail, they may get really, sad and feel
Burned out.
demotivated. Yeah, exactly. And here at Ruby Games, we develop lots of prototypes. Most of them fail, but one of them gets the top chart, and that saves the day. So yeah,
exactly. I think what you said is very important about the production line. So you're basically highlighting the importance of methodology. You have to have some sort of system in place. Let that be level design. Let that be just a quick starting template of runner games, whatever that is. But you should have something going on, and you should always do iterations, improve it, etc. Because that's how you are going to be successful. That's how you're going to be have a unique value. Now, speaking of competition, because you just mentioned that there's a lot of competition in hyper casual and other genres and verticals. Let me ask you, what is a specific tip or tactic regarding staying competitive? Because it's competitive, everybody knows that, but it's getting harsher and harsher as we speak. So what are the things that you do to stay competitive? Abdulrahman, what do you think about it?
Well, actually, staying competitive is like kind of tricky question because like it has a lot of branches we can go toward it.
Yeah.
But mainly, actually, staying competitive is like seeing what's in the trend. Like top chart is like for me the most competitive thing. If you like just seeing what's on the trend, seeing what's like games are getting hit nowadays, and what games like are staying on the top chart for a long time, and be competitive with that games. Okay, so because like you are gonna know like what's people are in love playing now in the current time, and you try to guess what's up to afterwards. It's basically like kind of watching the monitoring kind of the trends and expecting what's gonna be afterward. It's like kind of you are playing with the cryptocurrency, like we can say. It's like basically you are trying to guess what's gonna be in afterward. So like comparative first like starts by the trends, like by considering trend. Second, actually, it's I'm like in hyper casual, like I'm not gonna say like at other like fields we are comparative in a way that we just try to be above each other's. Here, like in hyper casual, like more we are into like communication serious to each other and helping each other. So it's not comparative in terms of like make someone else fall down or something. It's like more about we are raising up together. So like it's kind of we are not competing with others as much as we are competing with ourselves. It's like to be fitter in the future. Yeah,
That's a great way to look at it. Ozhan, what do you think?
I think to be competitive, we need to focus on creating trends rather than forecasting or following the trends. You can get yourself some income by following or forecasting trends, but the real deal is the being the trend setter actually. Also, CPIs increase day by day, as we see in the last quarter of last year. The privacy policies and IDFA depreciations hit the hyper casual market a lot. We have seen terrible CPIs recently. So maybe this year retention and playtime will be more important in terms of LTV. So the CPI range may go up a little bit to release more games.
Yeah, choosing the battles right is also very important. So if you're working on finding, low CPI, good luck. But maybe a retention-based approach is better. But still, CPI is important. Go ahead.
Actually, that's like remind me like a lot of tests getting like more than $5. Like wow, we haven't seen that for a while.
Yeah, I've seen like $25. It's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I when I see something like that, I always joke about like, hey, if you like, literally like press some like brochures and just deliver it, it could be cheaper to
Yeah, it is.
acquire users. Yeah.
Actually, that's maybe because like of how the market is saturated nowadays. Because like
Yeah.
we used to like have a couple of hyper casual games. If you're talking like in 2015 or 16, but now like we have many games and really hard to get a unique and creative game. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like make it more competitive and harder.
And basically, I think what we are essentially saying is that metagame is getting more and more important in hyper casual as well. So the qualities that make a game more attractive for users to play the second day, third day, fourth day, etc., so forth, so on, is getting more and more important. So the studios who can manage this is going to be luckier and more competitive. Kerim, what do you think about this?
Yeah, you guys are right. And the one thing that I also like to add is, in order to stay competitive, like we previously mentioned, like having solid processes and frameworks and template project is really helpful, because that way you can dish out lots of more prototypes faster. But I also would like to mention that story intelligence or market intelligence really adds value to your game, because yes, creating original games it's going to be like a hitting jackpot, but
Yeah.
you can also hop on a trend. And I think it's still valid, because what we see in top charts recently is Rolex is they have lots of great studios. They can create really games really fast. So they find a new mechanic in a new mechanic in a runner game, for example, and then for example forward stacking. Let's say
Yeah.
there was they found that new mechanic, and then they immediately jump on it and create like hundreds of prototypes with lots of different mechanics, different teams, and some of them got successful and got to the top charts. And even now it's like I Want Pizza is like maybe the latest addition to that. And then there is this new trend on switching from left to right, two characters on the runners, switching stuff from left to right, stacking,
Coupling.
or just changing the two characters. So they found this new mechanic, and then they're just like hopping on it, and there's not really that much of successful hits yet. Maybe there's room for potential there. So like really spying on what other studios are doing, what other publishers are telling people to do could be a great way to coming up with new hits. If you believe in your pace, I guess that's important, because it's going to be really, really competitive.
And I agree with that. And it's one of those things. There's a paradox here, and I I just want to talk about the other side of the coin, because I agree with you. This is very important, and you should definitely do that. Following trendsetters is one of the main channels of growth for a lot of studios. If you followed Rolex last year, then you could have seen the success of Hair Challenge, for example, and then got on that train and maybe release a successful launch, whatever. But at the same time, so this is the other side of the coin. If to say now, if you're only doing this, so you should definitely do this. But if this is the only thing that you're doing, you're always following trends that are going down, statistically speaking, because you're going to see it at its peak. So they launch it, you see it, and maybe it's going to stay like that for a while, or maybe if you're lucky, it's going to go up a little more, but it's going to go down at some point. So you're going to start following that. If you have a wider approach in terms of ideation, that includes mining the games between, like, let's say 200 and 600 in top charts, that is also going to help you to get, almost like detect future hits. So this is also very important. And at Tiplay Studio, we have 8 different techniques about ideation. So these are 2 of them. And as Kerim said before, methodology is very important, and it's very important about ideation as well, not about game development. Because if you don't have great ideas, no matter how powerful you are, it's not gonna help you. So it's important to sum up. It's important to follow trends, but also it's very important to predict trends, or even better, start a trend. That's the best part. Kerim, you got to say something, I guess.
A quick disclaimer there. When I was mentioning this, I'm not really, when I say market intelligence, I'm actually more focused on finding out hits before they hit the top charts. If they already hit the top chart, it's going to be a bit more difficult. But with Facebook ad library or other Storyglide or other spying intelligence stuff, you can find some potential there.
Yeah, that's a
and also you mentioned like 2 out of 8 in terms of ideations.
Yeah.
Do you want to turn this into an educational session and tell us about the other 6?
Sure, no problem. I mean, I'm not gonna reveal everything, but I can tell you a few more. For example, you can do hybrids, like X of this game, Y of that game. That's another ideation technique. You can reformat a game. You can take an arcade game, like old school arcade, like Street Fighter, whatever, or Pac-Man, and turn it to a different game. Like we have specific mechanics in the game industry since like 70s, since even 60s, and we are kind of repeating the same thing again and again. Every once in a while, a huge change comes, such as iPhone, thanks to Steve Jobs, right? And that changed the control, but actually it's the same game, more or less. Sometimes new approach. For example, now we can do this on iPhone that was not there before because of touchscreen, right? But you can reformat a game. You can brainstorm about a game without any agenda. You can bring 3 people and then let's brainstorm and just talk about blah blah blah. But I just read an article about how brainstorming is less effective than like solo ideation. So, but if you don't put all your eggs in one basket, I think you're good. So I think differentiating your ideation channels is also, or diversifying them, is very important. Let me give you one more, and this didn't work for us, but maybe it's gonna work for you. We just canceled it. I'm giving you guys like $100,000 of consultation here, so I'm gonna send the invoice somewhere. I don't know, but we put mechanics in one basket and themes on other basket, and we kind of like didn't it with the actual bags, but we have an online workspace, a remote work platform. We do through that, and when it says magic hat, when you click magic hat, it gives you mechanic on one side and a theme on the other side. So you start ideating. It didn't work for us. Maybe it works for you. So I think I give you like 6 or 7 maybe ideation techniques. Now let's, we all talk about success. Let's talk about some failures, F-ups. So it's not always like rose petals and sunshine and rainbows. It's actually 99% of it is mistakes. I can proudly say that more than half of the decisions I make are wrong, and that's supposed to be like that at a startup. Because if you're always trying to do the right thing, you are staying in your comfort zone, and that's not gonna innovate. That's not gonna help things get better. So you always think about a conservative approach if you don't make mistakes. So I make a lot of mistakes, and I'm curious about what mistakes you did. Ozhan, let's start with you. What did you F up?
Actually, I agree with you. You cannot improve yourself without making mistakes. And in hyper casual, it's all about mistakes. It's 90% of the time about making mistakes and discovering new stuff. And maybe every time you put and build up at some point, and after some threshold, you get more more creative, more innovative by this way. And what mistakes? Maybe it's about using wrong signals in hyper casual. Sometimes lead us to wrong ways, but after some point you get more experience and you have tested a lot of stuff, and then come up with better solutions next time.
Do you have a big mistake, big one that you want to share with us?
I don't have a big mistake, but I have lots of small mistakes. So
That's good. That's a good answer. All right, awesome. So, Abdurrahman, what's your biggest mistake?
Actually, like there are a couple of points I want to mention. It like first one is giving up. Actually, this is like the biggest mistake you can ever do. Like after making like I don't know 50 or 60 prototypes, like you think you are not gonna be successful, or like there is something.
Did you ever give up at some point in your career?
Yeah, for 2 months actually. It's short giving up, to be honest. Yeah.
That's a good ownership, man. I really like that you're saying this in front of everybody, because there are a lot of young people who are burnt out and thinking about quitting, and
Yeah.
you did it, and you came back, and now you're here. You have a successful career. So
Exactly.
I'm really curious
Actually,
about what you guys
the story like of giving up is like basically when it started like after making games and losing a lot, like in terms of like human resource, let's say losing, like some developer like quit it and some developer are starting intern. So basically like when you are starting like a studio, when you have like a lot of fresh developer that never worked together before, it's actually hard to manage them, harder than like people like work together for a long time, which is actually like causing like bigger kind of giving up techniques, like more pressure. But when in terms like after saying that, like no, that's my passion, that I have to follow it, that's like think give me like a following and not giving up again. So first thing I'm gonna mention is like never giving up, of course. A second thing I want to mention is like never like put your basket like or your eggs in one basket kind of thing. Yeah, like many of like developers, or like including me actually, like when I first started in hyper casual games, I was like focused on only one genre, and I thought like that's the genre I'm gonna enjoy making the most. But in the end, like I found many different genres of hyper casual games that's interesting to make, and they're getting like even better numbers. Of course, the numbers is different from time to time. Depends on the what's called the trending. And the third thing I'm gonna mention, like I always say it for every new studios, it's actually everyone in the market is almost 2 weeks experience. Because like the trend is,
I like this.
yeah, the trend as well was changing like every kind of 2 weeks, 10 days. It's like we are seeing new things. So the biggest mistake you can ever do is being in your comfort zone kind of thing, and think you know everything in the market, and never developing yourself and never watching it, which is the biggest mistake you can, because you are gonna stay in your comfort zone and never develop yourself more and your games.
And for like beginners, it's a beginner mistake to feel like, oh, I'm gonna do this. Like almost every single studio I met at the early stage, for example, if they're applying to Ozhan, etc., almost every single one of them were very, very confident that they were going to release a hit in a couple of months. And when I wanted to, assure them that that's not going to happen, they were kind of defensive about it. But we have to understand that we don't know a lot of things, and more importantly, we don't know what we don't know. Like there are things that I know that I don't know, but there are things that I don't know that I don't know. That's the opportunity and risk area. So we have to be humble. We have to be coachable at all times. As the CEO of and one of the co-founders of Tiplay Studio, I find myself very ignorant about games, and I keep, educating myself every day. I try to play new games. I try to read more articles, etc., etc. So I recommend this to every single one in the industry. Abdurrahman, continue.
Yeah, there is something actually I want to add about like you don't know what you don't know. it's basically the only way. Knowing what you don't know is basically like try to learn new things. Like when you try to like discover new things, you basically start figuring out what you don't know. So like keep doing researches is the key for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Something else actually, like we have to feel proud of our mistakes, because like everyone like in the market now successful in terms of hyper casual or other genres, they have failed a lot, which I'm assuring you, like every city I have talked with, they have failed a lot, like minimum 3 or 4 fails, like I mean like really big fails. So failing is the key.
Just hold on your thought. Steve Jobs thought in-app purchases was a stupid idea for App Store. Steve Jobs. It was a mistake.
Yeah,
It turned
I
out to be
agree.
one of the biggest revenue channels for them. So you're right.
Yeah, it's like actually there is something I do it like whenever I'm talking with the studios, like we kind of in comparative, like how many fail did we fall? Like,
Yeah.
is it 5 or is it 3 or who like get more fails? Because like having more fails, it equals more experience, more like things to know. And
Yeah.
like you mentioned, like even Steve Jobs did it. Actually, like there's another one about Steve Jobs, like talking about the screen size. It was like the maximum thing about like 4.5 inches. But now,
Yeah.
is that even exist kind of thing?
After all, size matters. So Kerim,
Yeah.
what do you gotta say about mistake? What's your biggest mistake?
I guess like it's gonna continue from what Abdul Rahman and you said. It's like it's really important to learn from failures and try to learn what you don't know. So one of the biggest mistakes that I've made actually is not really reflecting on our failures or prototypes. So at the early stages of my career, I was just like creating prototypes, and then if it didn't reach certain KPIs, we would kill it, and I just kind of forgot about those because that was bad. Those were bad. But that's not really the case. There's in every failure, there's an opportunity to grow. So I learned that the hard way. Right now, our when we launch a game, when we launch a prototype, we always look back to sort of like what did we do wrong here? What can we learn? And we're actually going to reiterate to iteration stages on a couple of them, and we're able to really find some hidden gems on our failed prototypes. So like maybe like doing a like retrospective meeting after every prototypes, or just maybe like doing a reflective thought process on every week could be really good for improving your processes and techniques.
I 100% agree, and I just want to add two things. One thing, there are stupid mistakes and there are good mistakes. Stupid mistakes are the ones that you keep repeating, so avoid those. If you're doing the same, Einstein I think said, doing the same thing and expecting different results is stupid, something like that. So these are not the mistakes we're talking about. We are talking about the mistakes, when you do something new, like innovating and trying a new prototype and trying a new methodology, etc., and failing. That's cool, and the more the better. And I have to tell one of my mistakes, especially for up and coming gaming startups, studios. um, I think I should have hired slower and fired faster. And that's a very American thing to say, because I used to live in the US, and I actually thought that I was doing that, but it should be way slower, the hiring part, and firing part should be way faster. So just food for thought for up and coming studios. Now we have about 10 more minutes. I don't know, Vlad or Paulina, if you're listening, if there are any questions that you want me to ask to our participants, please let me know. uh, I have one more question to ask. Where are the best opportunities in the game industry? So this is a broad question, so wide range question. So what do you think? Let's start with Ozhan. What are the best opportunities?
Yes, this year there are lots of opportunities in the gaming industry because crypto gaming, AR, VR, metaverse, mobile games, and PC console, there are lots of new channels coming, and we know that Most of the studios are trying new games on those platforms as well. That's one of the biggest, maybe revolution in the game industry so far. And I think for the hyper-casual part, blockchains, we may see them in hyper-casuals as well, especially with huge publishers having cross-promotions, and maybe if they implement blockchains altogether in their games and have one currency that can be used in all games, this can be a very disruptive innovation for the hyper-casual part. Also, hybrid casual will become more important with these new technologies coming into the hyperspace. And also there needs to be some more innovative monetization systems. For example, we may see like digital signage boards in the games rather than interstitials and maybe banners that may work better directly working with the advertisers in that way. Yeah, those are the new opportunities for this year.
Yeah, regarding the blockchain slash NFT gaming, it has a lot to do with App Store, Play Store, and other publishing channels. So we'll see what happens. I'm very curious about it, and I always keep an eye on it. But let's see. Thank you, Ozhan. Kerim, let's continue with you. What are the best opportunities in your opinion?
I think the opportunity is the same as the previous years, and there's still room for growth in hyper casual, and just try to continue to ride this train and see where it evolves. Hyper casual, hybrid casual. It's going somewhere, but it's gonna go anyway. So just there's still potential here, and we would like to focus on our strengths and continue to grow them.
I 100% agree with you. There always every year there's someone saying that hyper casual is dead. Previous years, maybe you remember, like some in course influencers used to say like hyper casual is dead, and then next year, okay, it was not dead, but it's gonna die this year. But
are you talking about the deconstructor of fun?
I didn't want to mention any names, but
maybe
yeah, maybe not. But it just keeps growing because it's a mass audience game. Like it's a game for everyone, not just gamers, and it's gonna keep continuing. And there are different verticals, even beyond App Store and Play Store. Like we're gonna see people playing more in quotes hyper casual games on Zoom, like people who are not playing games at all on their phones will be playing games on Discord or whatever, and maybe TikTok is gonna join Snapchat. We launched a game on Snapchat last week. So there are a lot of different areas of growth for hyper casual, but I believe on Play Store and App Store is gonna keep dominating the top charts for a long time. And Abdurrahman, what do you think about what we gotta say? And then we're about to sum up.
Yeah, actually, like Ozan and Kerim actually they explained like everything related to the opportunity, but I want to just like describe the opportunity as correct form of it, which is basically like when you are working hard towards something and you collide with the correct time, that's how you find opportunity. It's like basically if you're like saying like hyper casual is gonna be dead, for example, or like there's gonna be a new genre. What I'm gonna suggest is like by start working on it. If like just an example, if it didn't work hyper casual game in the future, which I'm not expecting at all, to be honest, looking how it's getting better even with time. But like let's say if it's not going up and it's going down, at least you have gathered studio with a good experience, and it's easier for you now to turn your direction instead of like if you didn't work on it. So basically, like finding opportunity is basically like working hard and keep doing researches, keep doing on like like on Reddit, for example, like LinkedIn, every social platform, like see what they are up to in the new generations, either like AR or like NFT now, like is going really hyped, or like even in hyper casual, if it's like we're going in bigger direction toward that one, or like just staying in hyper casual. So basically, yeah, working on time, that's like best thing I'm gonna tell to everyone.
Exactly. And, I just want to add one more thing, beautiful comments there. Just keep trying and just produce games. Worst case scenario, let's say you like produce like, I don't know, 20 games and release it on Play Store and try to do something on your own, and 0 people downloaded it. Worst case scenario, you're going to get a good job at a good studio. Like, I'm going to hire that guy on the spot. 20 games on Play Store, at least he or she is trying. And worst case, I would just put it in the apprenticeship, accepted to the apprenticeship program, and hire. And the best case scenario, you're gonna launch a game that reaches hundreds of millions of people. So just work with all your resilience and all your heart, and don't give up. Thank you, everybody. It was a wonderful session. It was really nice to speak. It got a little philosophical at some point. I really like it. The things we don't know, stuff like that. I really like it. And this shows, by the way, we are all, from other companies, or we're working independently, but, this shows that Turkish ecosystem has grown to create values for everybody. That's why I value the most, because we are growing together. Competition is great on top charts, but in Turkey, I think more and more people are trying to help each other to grow faster, and that's actually one of the most important success tips for up and coming studios. Share as much as you can, and you're gonna get way more things that you expect to get. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and have a great day. Cheers. Bye bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank
Take care.
you. Bye.